Last time we spoke about Vladimir Tarasenko, St. Louis Blues star winger, and a current trade candidate, it was in a video discussing the three teams that are apparently the most involved in trade discussions, according to certain sources. They were the New York Rangers, the New York Islanders, and the New Jersey Devils. Kind of funny, because all those three teams are located in the same location in the world, which, I mean, is it a coincidence? I don't really know. Either way, though, the past few weeks have been filled with Vladimir Tarasenko trade rumors. It appears to be that he wants to take his hockey talent elsewhere, and the St. Louis Blues are apparently in the mix of trying to get that deal done. Alas, at the time of recording this video, which is Saturday, August 21st, there has not been a trade made yet, which is why we're still kind of speculating as to what's going to happen. Tarasenko is 29 years old, he's carrying a $7 million AAV cap hit that takes him until 2023, and he's a guy who, when healthy, could be a consistent 30-goal, maybe 60-70 point guy. The previous few seasons, though, have not been kind to Tarasenko in terms of his health. He played the beginning of the 2020 season, but then he missed the rest of the year. He came back in the bubble and wasn't really all too great, and then he was sidelined again for the majority of 2021, and it wasn't really all too great there either. It's been an up and down process with the medical staff over there in St. Louis, it would appear. In St. Louis, though, Tarasenko has built himself up a very good reputation. He was fantastic the previous years when he was in that Maurice Richard, Rocket Richard trophy kind of conversation, and he was seen as one of the better young snipers in the entire NHL by the mid-2010s. But now, as a guy who is in a position where I would say he has a little bit more to prove, considering his health and the way that he would probably want to bounce back, there is indeed a good conversation to have for a trade. Which takes us to this recent piece in The Athletic by Jeremy Rutherford, a St. Louis Blues beat reporter. The offseason isn't over, but is it time to be concerned about the St. Louis Blues defense? This article is, of course, on The Athletic, so we're not going to screenshot it. Instead, we're going over onto Spectre's Hockey from August 20th, so it's my yesterday, it's your... 3 days ago? Something like that. And we take a look at what exactly it is Lyle Richardson talks about with Rutherford's Athletic piece. Jeremy Rutherford reports that New York Islanders defenseman Scott Mayfield has surfaced as a possible trade target for the St. Louis Blues. As a St. Louis native, the 28-year-old Mayfield could be a fit on the right side of the Blues' third defense pairing. Rutherford also noted the Islanders were among the teams tied to Vladimir Tarasenko trade rumors. He wondered if a potential swap with Tarasenko could bring Mayfield home. Now, I'm just going to say it right here off the bat. If you're going to do 1-for-1 Scott Mayfield for Tarasenko, you're losing that trade if you're getting Scott Mayfield in return. No disrespect to him. I like Scott Mayfield a lot. He's one of the guys that really does keep that New York Islanders defensive system running and well checked. He's great. But the thing is, he is just that. He is a defensive shutdown guy. He's 28, 6'5", 223, so a really good frame right there. But he was never really the kind of guy to go out there and be what I would say is a comparable to Vladimir Tarasenko value-wise. Sure, he's making a pretty good amount of money. He's making $1.45 until 2023, which is a pretty big steal, actually. But Scott Mayfield is just what the profile says he is, a potential Blues third pairing guy. So if you're going to talk about a Mayfield trade with Tarasenko, it's not going to be Mayfield for Tarasenko 1-for-1. There would have to be other stuff added there. It is just not valuable enough in the slightest to only include Mayfield. Let's continue over onto the Spectre's note part of the Spectre's Hockey article discussing this entire trade idea. Anything is possible, but I don't think the Isles intend to trade another defenseman. NHL.com's Brian Compton believes that they still need to replace Nick Leddy after trading him last month to the Detroit Red Wings in a cost-cutting move. Okay, now hold up, before we even continue, I kind of forgot the Nick Leddy trade even happened. Does anybody else kind of feel in the same boat? Time's been going by so weirdly in these past few weeks, and with Nick Leddy specifically, yeah, that happened a while ago. That whole trade's just kind of lingering in the back of my mind, and I mean, the Red Wings are one of my favorite teams, so I feel kind of bad about that, to be honest. But that indeed is a great point as well, that the Islanders have already had their fair share of losses the past few weeks, with Leddy, of course, on the back end, and then you had the expansion draft, Jordan Eberle, one of the more valuable pieces taken in the Seattle Kraken expansion for sure. So would you really go out there and want to give up another guy like Mayfield, who, as we noted, is one of the bigger gears that keeps the defensive cog turning in New York? It's a really specific system that Barry Trotz likes to play, so for Scott Mayfield in particular, he is one of the guys that really allows that system to work the way it does. Aside from that, though, Compton also acknowledges that the Isles could use another score, which would explain why they have been linked to Vladimir Tarasenko. Mayfield on his own won't get it done, but it could be part of a package offer including a quality draft pick and/or a prospect. However, Spectre right here does not see them moving him before addressing Leddy's absence. So that's kind of the idea that we're talking about over here, Mayfield and other stuff for Vladimir Tarasenko, a potential Islanders and Blues swap. Now, in my opinion, it's a pretty interesting one right here, mostly because the St. Louis Blues, they have themselves a pretty interesting kind of conundrum where they did just acquire Pavel Buchnevich. So you could debate that there is room to move on from a guy like Vladimir Tarasenko because his goal scoring, his snipage ability, is somewhat being replaced by Pavel Buchnevich, whom you acquired in a trade for Sammy Blais. Yeah, let's not talk about that trade anymore. I've kind of already beaten that one into the ground. Either way, though, the Blues do have a few options here. And if they do go out there and get themselves a hometown native in Scott Mayfield, this could be a pretty good replacement for Vince Dunn. Surprise, surprise, it's not only the Islanders who lost quality players in the expansion draft, but the Blues did as well. Funny enough, the Blues actually had Tarasenko exposed too, but the Kraken refused to take him because Ron Francis is allergic to cap space. Either way, though, Dunn is gone. Pietrangelo, you lost out on him a year ago, too. Now, if you have yourselves a Mayfield, that could be a really good defensive presence to ultimately be added onto that blue line. And the fact that he is indeed a St. Louis guy, too, makes this a little bit more interesting, although I don't want to make it seem like that is the main pitch. The main pitch should just be, okay, Mayfield's a $1-point-something million player who plays a lot better than the $1-point-something million guy. I said that he doesn't really produce all too much, but hey, he does get some production here and there. He had 15 points in 56 games played last year, and 6 points in 19 in the postseason. His career high is 19 points in 79 games played, and this year's production of 15 and 56 was on pace for 21 points. So even though he is technically a shutdown, defensively capable guy, he can still get on the scoreboard once in a while. Now, I know playing on the Islanders will help with that for sure, but still, Scott Mayfield does his thing. We saw that fantastic goal he scored in the playoffs too, right? That snipe over Vasilevsky's shoulder, one of the most unexpected things you could have had from Scott Mayfield, but hey, he knows how to do that. Maybe you can just trade him for Tarasenko because Mayfield can be the guy to snipe the puck over shoulders as well. I'm kind of joking there, by the way. But yeah, for the Islanders, it is a positional dearth right there on the blue line that would be expanded upon even more if you traded away Scott Mayfield without addressing that need first. So who knows if there is an acquisition of another defenseman coming over to New York to maybe stabilize that decor before shipping away a guy like Mayfield, should he actually be traded over to St. Louis, as Jeremy Rutherford is suggesting he has been linked to in his piece in The Athletic. If you want to talk about return, though, you got to go over to the New York Islanders and take a look at their prospect pool, because as we noted, Mayfield for Tarasenko 1-for-1 is a deal that the Blues say no to 100% of the time. When it comes to draft picks, the Islanders have been missing out on a few of theirs. They have 1 second-round pick from Colorado. Theirs is gone. They don't have their 4th, and they don't have their 7th in the upcoming NHL Draft. So you would probably have to look to the prospect list and see who is available there in that way. Robin Salo's a defenseman I like. I'm a big fan of Bodie Wild as well. When it comes to forwards, though, you do have some pretty interesting names. Simon Holmstrom is a guy that I think really does play the Islanders game pretty well, so I would not be surprised if the Islanders wanted to hold on to him. Probably the most interesting prospect the Blues could interest themselves in, though, is Aatu Räty. Now, I know, Islanders fans, you love this guy. Already, you are in love with what this guy has done and his entire story. But Aatu Räty is, at the end of the day, just another second-round pick. Now, I would debate that he's more than that, and he probably should have been taken somewhere in the top 15, but that's just me personally. The Islanders do have themselves a pretty good prospect pool when it comes to being a team that is just so gosh darn dominant and making the 3rd round every single year, that there are indeed a few options that I think you could go out there and entertain if you're the St. Louis Blues. Samuel Bolduc's an interesting name, obviously Simon Holmstrom. Then you have the guys that are already on the team like Oliver Wahlstrom and Noah Dobson, but I don't really know if they're going to be touching those guys either way. But talk to me in the comments, though, what you think. If you're an Islanders fan, would you trade away Scott Mayfield and some other stuff for Tarasenko? If yes, what exactly is that other stuff that you're referring to? If you're a Blues fan, tell me in the comments what would you like to receive from the Islanders for Tarasenko if Mayfield is one of the pieces included. Talk to me in the comments what you think. Hope you enjoyed this video. Rosén 99, and bye.